Good morning, Golden K.
Good morning.
Well, today we're going to have America the Beautiful, our Pledge of Allegiance, and the Kiwanis Pledge, and it's going to be led by Roberta Williams, and the invocation then will be by Don Winokur. Oh, and John Baird will be on the piano.
Okay, a little history before we start. America the Beautiful was originally a poem written by Kathryn Lee Bates in 1893. She was a professor of English in Massachusetts. She traveled across the country to Colorado, and after viewing the scenery from Pikes Peak, she wrote this poem. She was just so inspired by the scenery. It was paired in 1882 with a melody which was written by Samuel Ward. Some people have advocated for this to replace the Star Spangled Banner as our national anthem because it's about geography, history, and unity shared rather than about a war. And so some people feel like this would make a better national anthem. If you don't know all the verses, we're going to sing two today. If you don't know all the verses, I really suggest that you go look online and read the poem, because it's pretty inspiring when you read it. Okay, John. And our Kiwanis Pledge. As our country's flag signifies purity, valor, and justice, may we as true Kiwanians exemplify these virtues as we serve the children of the world. Please remain standing.
Good morning. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, help us to remember that freedom, like faith, needs our attention and our cooperation. Lord, be with us now as we meet to strengthen, keep us, to protect us, and direct us as we work together today. Guide our thoughts and actions to stay focused on what is important and make good decisions as we serve the children of the world. Amen. Amen.
Good morning, Golden K. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce Kathryn Johnson. Kathryn is the Community Liaison with the East Central Illinois Area Agency on Aging. Her office is in Bloomington, so thank you for driving down this morning. I found it hard to remember the name of her agency, but by looking at the abbreviation they use, ECIAAA, I see that the last letters are AAA, Area Agency on Aging, and the first three letters are ECI, East Central Illinois. So, East Central Illinois Area Agency on Aging. Given our club's average age of 78, I'd say Kathryn couldn't have found a more appropriate audience. Their motto at ECIAAA, Age Strong, Live Strong. Today, her talk is on senior medical patrol, preventing abuse, fraud, and waste of Medicare resources. Please give a warm welcome to Kathryn Johnson.
Good morning, everyone. I said hello to a lot of you already. I just want to, before I start, we passed around these booklets. They'll come in handy a little bit later. You don't have to use it, but I'll explain what it is for. And then I also had a grant card about our agency and what we do. And also a survey. Unfortunately, with us, the Senior Medicare Patrol, like anything else, they want us to do surveys after we do a presentation. So after my presentation, I appreciate if you would take a moment and fill this out for me. Totally optional though. So a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Kathryn Johnson. I'm the Community Liaison with East Central Illinois Area Agency on Aging. Now I know that Kiwanis is very focused in on children and children's causes and that, and you think, well, what does a aging person that works for an aging agency may have to do with children? And you'd be surprised, because one of the populations that we do serve is grandparents raising grandchildren. And so that is very important to us in our caregiver advisory program. Sally Williams over there, one of your fellow members, I believe, was a caregiver advisor, as was I at one time, and I got to know Sally very well. On our board of directors, Ron Black, which I don't see him here today. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get after him for that. He's not here today, but he is our board president at East Central Illinois Area Agency on Aging. But I'm here to talk about the Senior Medicare Patrol. Also, just want a couple facts about myself. I was actually born in Decatur and never lived in Decatur. But I was born here at Memorial Hospital. I'm not going to tell you what year. But you'd be surprised maybe. But, you know, two towns that I grew up in were Assumption and then Clinton. So in between is Decatur, of course. And Decatur was always my stomping grounds growing up with my friends and that. So anyway, the Senior Medicare Patrol taking charge to prevent healthcare fraud and abuse. And you'd be surprised as to how much fraud there is out there, and abuse, and waste. Some of it can be intentional, some of it can be unintentional, and I'll explain further. But I'm guessing from what you said about the average age being 78, all of you are on Medicare. Medicare, we know, is also for individuals under 65 who have a disability. How many of you would you say are caregivers? Is there a caregiver to someone? Okay, so not only are you looking after yourself, you're looking after a loved one. And how many of you pay taxes? Can't get away from that. Yeah, local tax, state tax, property tax. You know, and unfortunately, we lose billions of dollars every year with Medicare fraud, abuse, and waste. And what that does is compromises Medicare and the benefits that people receive. And it's such an unfortunate thing. It's one of the biggest scams, I think, how people can get away with it. But there's ways to protect yourself against that. And even if you think, well, this is just an isolated incident, or that, you should always report it, because if they're doing it to you, they're doing it to someone else. So, Medicare beneficiaries, Medicare beneficiaries end up paying higher premiums. What is Medicare Part B now? I can't keep track. I know it's over $100. I remember when I first started out doing outreach counseling, I think the premiums were $48 a month, Part B. I think it's what, 150, something like that now? 209. Oh my goodness, see? That's ridiculous. Less money for needed benefits and quality of treatment. So some of the consequences of fraud, errors, and abuse is medical identity theft. Of course, Medicare has taken some actions over the years. For instance, replacing Medicare cards with a unique ID number instead of your Social Security number, that helps. But there are also health impacts. This can lead to a lot of misinformation, inaccurate test results. If Medicare thinks, a service has already been provided, they may deny the service. And it may lead to false diagnosis, inadequate treatment, and maybe even death for some beneficiaries. And then there's personal financial losses. Especially if one's Medicare number is compromised. So what is the Senior Medicare Patrol? The Senior Medicare Patrol helps Medicare beneficiaries prevent, detect, and report health, fraud, and abuse. It helps preserve the integrity of the Medicare program. Does anyone know when the Medicare program went live or went into effect? 1965. Yeah, that's the same year as the Older Americans Act, which is where we receive a lot of our funding through the federal government to provide services such as piecemeal, caregiver advisory services, information assistance, legal services, and such. That was enacted in 1965. Anybody can tell me who the president was in 1965? Yeah, LBJ. Okay. I always like to do these pop quizzes to make sure everybody's on their toes and are listening. But the program does rely heavily on volunteers to help go out and do presentations like this. And also there are some specialized trainees who are able to kind of deep further into claims of Medicare fraud and abuse and take appropriate actions. That's a little bit above my pay grade, so I do more of the educational component and the outreach. The mission is to empower, assist Medicare beneficiaries, their families and caregivers, to prevent, detect, and report healthcare fraud, errors, and abuse through outreach, counseling, and education. And again, when I was asking you earlier, if you are a caregiver, you're doing that not only for yourself, but you're probably doing that for your loved one, making sure that they are getting the appropriate treatment and billing is done correctly in that. So what is Medicare fraud? So Medicare fraud is intentionally billing Medicare for services that were not received or billing for a service at a higher rate than is actually justified. So, again, there's some safety nets there. If the doctor is assigned Medicare, then they have to take what Medicare says that they will approve. They can charge whatever they want, but if Medicare says we're only going to pay this amount, then that's all they can charge. So there's a lot of intentional fraud that does go on. What is Medicare abuse? And sometimes this can be interchangeable as far as abuse and fraud, but it occurs when providers supply services or products that are not medically necessary. So there's been a lot of scams that S&P tries to promote as far as to look out for, such as durable medical equipment, diabetic supplies. Not that people with diabetes shouldn't get supplies, but it's almost like the overkill of it, and giving too much of supplies, or like ostomy bags, things like that, genetic testing. COVID was that got heavily abused during COVID, testing kits and masks and things like that. So, and then some examples of fraud and abuse. So billing for services, supplies, or equipment that was not provided. So this is why you need to really take a look at your explanation of benefits or Medicare summary notices. And there is a difference, I don't know if you realize this, between those two terms. The Medicare summary notices is generally someone that's on traditional Medicare, and an explanation of benefits is usually someone that's going to be on a Medicare Advantage plan. So like that, we used to call it Part C or something like that years ago, right, Sally? But it's the one that covers both A and B, and also prescription drugs. So billing for services, supplies, or equipment that were not provided. So if you didn't get the supplies, again, that's why you should look at your statements. Billing for excessive medical supplies. I have been using a CPAP for years. I tell you, I get a call, I'm not kidding you, once a week asking me if I need supplies. And I'm almost thinking that it's borderline abuse. You know, I usually don't answer their calls, you know, and I only call them if I need supplies. But, you know, companies such as that, I'm not saying that this particular company is doing that, but they certainly, I certainly have a good enough supply to last me maybe 5 years, and I don't need any more. So, you know, I think sometimes some companies take advantage of that and bill as much as they can. Maybe they have quotas to make with their leadership team, unfortunately, and that gets abused. Obtaining or giving Medicare number for free services. So you should treat any offer of free services in exchange for your Medicare or healthcare identification with caution. Okay, you know, if you have insurance, they're going to have your Medicare number. You know, so if your insurance company is calling you and asking you for that information, that might be a red flag. For instance, improper coding to obtain higher payment that has occurred. Unneeded, and how do we know? How do we know? We don't know coding, do we? Anybody here a Medicare expert on coding? You know, we don't know. We have to trust what the office is doing or the hospital is doing when they're doing those codings for billing. But there are mistakes that happen. We're human, right? Human mistakes do happen, and those are situations that can be easily resolved. Unneeded or excessive x-rays and lab tests, claims for services that are not medically necessary, using another person's Medicare number, or letting someone else use your number to obtain medical care, supply, or equipment. So a real life case of fraud in Illinois, and there's been many, but one of the ones that's kind of closest to us in central Illinois happened in Eureka, and this just happened last year. A chiropractor was sentenced to 20 months in prison in order to repay more than $2.3 million for defrauding Medicare and private insurers. The provider was convicted of billing for services that were not rendered or were not medically necessary. So there's many cases like that in our area. And, you know, if it was just one person and they, you know, didn't report it, you know, again, you know, this is probably going on for a number of years. It sounds like maybe a few people reported their suspicion, it was looked into, and as a result, there was a conviction, and the abuse has stopped. I doubt this person will get Medicare assignment or any other type of, or probably lose their license, I would imagine, with a felony. So, 3 steps to prevent healthcare fraud. Again, to protect, detect, and report. And this is how you can take charge of yourself personally to do this. You should always be vigilant about what services that you've had and compare it to your summary notices. Again, you know, you always treat your Medicare card like your Social Security card, like a credit card. You know, that's very valuable. I bet if I asked you guys to pull out your wallets, how many of you would have your Medicare card in your wallet today? Take it out, put it somewhere safe. That's what they recommend. Highly recommend doing that. Also your Social Security card, of course, to take those 2 items out. Credit card, you might not be able to do that because you need that, you know, more often. But certainly you should protect that card. Do watch out for identity theft. Do be aware that Medicare doesn't visit or sell or doesn't call to sell you anything. Be cautious, of course, of those free offers, okay? And, you know, do pass the word along, okay? Don't give your number except to your doctor or a Medicare provider, and don't carry your Medicare card unless you need it. I think another, which is kind of a little bit off target a little bit, but I think during open enrollment, people feel very, they get bombarded with calls, you know, and it can be confusing for some people, especially if they have some memory issues and that. Certainly that happened to my mother. My mother used to have one of those J plans. They don't offer any anymore. It was a good plan for her, and with her health condition, somebody came to the door and was trying to sell her like a Medicare Advantage policy. Well, you know, that would have cost, you know, a lot of, that would have drained her if she had gone on that plan. And fortunately, I was able to track down and stop it before it went on. And when I asked her about it, she said, well, you know, I got this card in the mail, and, you know, I thought I could save money, so I sent it in, and, you know, the person made a visit to the home, so the person didn't do anything wrong. I mean, she sent the card in, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I would have hoped, though, if he would have known, and he may not have, that she had this plan, that, you know, she had good coverage. So, again, don't carry your card unless you may have to. And then this, My Healthcare Tracker. And again, if you need, I have more copies up here if you need it. This is just a handy tool that the Senior Medicare Patrol put together to track your appointments. So, you know, when you have an appointment with a provider, you know, document it, and then you can compare it to your Medicare summary notices. You may not need this, you know, and this is just a tool that can be helpful, but it can certainly help you track what you had done and what was billed. And if you do suspect that there are some errors, you know, first thing you should do is call the provider, because the provider, again, there might be a mistake. You know, the office staff just miscoded it or something like that, and it doesn't have to go any further than that. But if you're not comfortable with maybe contacting that provider, maybe you don't know them that well, or you suspect there's some type of fraud going on, you can call the number that's on the back of this booklet. It's called, it says Age Options, which is another sister area agency on aging in the suburban Chicago area. They hold the grant for Illinois to the SMP program. And certainly they have more qualified individuals that can look into it to see if you are being abused or if fraud is occurring, and can take the appropriate action. Also, just, if you do suspect fraud in that, just keep good records, kind of that who, what, when, where, why kind of thing. Again, maybe using this, other documents that you might have, and that is also helpful for the person at SMP to help look into that. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah. Oh, I see.
Okay. Thanks, Dan.
You know what, how about we take this?
I can hear you okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I get an annual physical, I'm wondering what should I expect from the doctor. The last time I went, he checked my heart rate, looked at me, spent the rest of his time on the computer. I didn't feel like I got an annual physical.
Ah, yeah, right,
So that's on the other side.
right.
Is there anything I should do in respect to that?
That's a very good question. I mean, because Medicare, certainly in their, I don't know if they even mail out the books anymore, the Medicare New books, but they used to kind of lay out what to expect during those annual physicals. And if he's just, checking your blood pressure or taking your temperature, he should be asking you certain questions in that, and obviously, always be honest, if you're having any kind of pain anywhere or that. I think it's always good to keep maybe a list before you go to the doctor. If you plan on going back to see this particular doctor, maybe have some questions, because sometimes, when you go in, you're kind of waiting on him to kind of lead the appointment and offer tests and things, but you have the right as a consumer to ask questions of him and to say, well, can you check this out? Here, I'm having issues with, maybe my heartbeat or having pain in my left leg, things like that. It's always good to always be proactive.
Well, it seems like in the past, we've got a new doctor because the old one retired. The old doctor would give you a physical.
Yeah.
You had a physical.
Yeah.
This one, use
Yeah.
the computer to do it.
Yeah, I
And
know.
do we report the doctor?
If you feel like you're not, what I would do after that appointment, I'd probably look at your Medicare summary notice and see what he billed.
Physical.
Just a physical, okay, what does that mean? Yeah,
That's why I wonder, is there anything that tells me what he should be doing?
right, yeah, exactly, yeah. Pardon? Coding?
I'm not good at this school.
Yeah, well, and you could, for something like that, that would be an excellent question to call this 800 number, seriously, because I might not be thinking of something. So certainly, that would be a good question. It probably does tie into a lot of the coding that they do, yeah. Because again, none of us understand coding, yeah. Yeah.
My question is along the same lines. I have use a BiPAP, and I get the calls regularly too for supplies. And 2 of the last 3 times that I've received supplies, I've been missing stuff.
Ah,
Which, you know, first time I just thought, well, it's human error. And, you know,
Right.
I called and said I didn't receive this, and they sent it back out. The next time it was the same thing. It was one of the bigger items in the packet, and
yeah,
I didn't receive it again.
Right.
So when does a coincidence become
Yeah.
a problem or something
Right.
like that?
exactly.
You know, and it's one of those things, it's not much, but if
Right.
you do that, you know, 300 times, then it could be a appreciable amount of money.
Right. Did, one thing I would ask is, did not last time, did they send the big item?
Yeah,
They did, after you made another call?
Yes.
Obviously, yeah,
I'm not happy
yeah, and, you know, in that kind of situation too, you know, I mean, you can look at it different, I mean, they did fulfill, I mean, even though they didn't fulfill it at the time, they did, you know, send it to you, so, you know, it probably wouldn't go anywhere, you know what I mean, as far as fraud or that, but, you know, you can always look at maybe another provider of that, you know, certainly you can consult that 800 number and ask them, you know, this has happened several times. How should I proceed as far as making a complaint? They might be able to take the complaint. They may tell you to call the Department of Insurance and make a complaint. But, you know, if it was me, I'd be going to another supplier. Yeah, yeah.
Another question.
Oh, there's one here.
I'm just like to share this with everybody here.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with a coding error from 2022 that adversely affected my pocketbook.
Wow.
And I finally, Mary Miller is our U.S. House of Representative for this area. Her office is in Muhammad, and I've been dealing with her staff. Boy, have I learned a lot about Medicare, but her staff has been very, very helpful with me. I think I'm close to getting it resolved, but Mary Miller's office really has helped. So
I'm glad you brought that up because people will be surprised, you know. Yeah, exactly. Many of the, you know, legislators, even, you know, Doris Turner, I think she's your local senator here. If you call their office, they would do the same. Most representatives and senators in Illinois, they have staff. They can help guide people through federal benefits when things go wrong, or, you know, they can look into it and get it resolved pretty quickly. It's amazing. I think there's a question over here.
Yes. So is there any website or any place where we can see the results of ongoing investigations or investigations that have been completed, so we would know, you know, sort of who the bad actors are?
Yeah. If you go to the IllinoisSMP.org, go back to your booklet here, certainly, they're the ones I get the stories from. Yeah, they do a newsletter with updates and that, and you can always, a lot of times they're mostly in the Chicago area, I'll be honest with you, you know, but, you know, there are some downstate, you know, unfortunately, so.
You talk about the phone calls you get. How effective is that national do not call registry if you call it?
It's not effective at all. Either it's blocking numbers on your cell phone, you know, I do that probably daily and I still get calls. Yeah, I know it's unfortunate, but yeah. You know, the rule of thumb is if you don't know the number, don't answer. If they don't leave a message, that's when I block them, because I figure it's nobody that really wants to get a hold of me for, you know, yeah.
So I wasn't initially going to do this, but it's an actual event that occurred, excuse me, to me. So I looked at my explanation of benefits, and there were several $1,000s worth of charges for durable medical equipment from a place in Florida, ordered by a physician in Florida who I'd never seen. And so on the explanation of benefits, they actually had a number to call.
11 o'clock.
So I called that number. I don't know if that ended up being you. I don't know who that was. but
Yeah.
Someone official
Yeah.
who took some information and so said thank you, but I assume that.
Didn't hear anything back?
No.
Okay.
So that's sort of my, and I don't necessarily have to hear anything back, but I.
No, you did sounds like you did the right thing, you know. Definitely think something like that, call. And I don't know how long ago this happened, but, you know, it doesn't hurt maybe to give a follow-up call to the S&P program to say, hey, this happened to me. You know, because again, if it wasn't taken care of or they stopped, it could still be going on. And there does seem to be a lot in Florida too. You know, unfortunately, these companies and that. So, yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Well, again, it's just nice to know that what to do when it happens.
You
Yeah,
caught it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's just important to actually look at those things when they arrive.
Exactly.
Just to encourage everyone to take a good look at it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I will wrap it up here. So thank you, and again, I would appreciate if I'll hang out for a little bit here. If you could fill out this group outreach and education survey for me, that would be very helpful, and I can come around and pick those up.
Thank you again, Kathryn, for driving down from Bloomington and for your presentation. We have a certificate of appreciation for you and a Golden Kiwanis pen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think Kathy Seebach has a special moment for us.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And the sun's out, so it's a good day. Hey, at this time, I would like to present the Kiwanis of the month for the month of April. And this person has been in Kiwanis quite a while, and they have done tutoring and preparing of snack bags at Franklin Grove. And this person has served as the committee chair for a number of years for the Golden K scholarships. And at this time, I would like to award the Kiwanis of the month to Jackie Evans. I know you were. I was watching you.
Yeah, questionnaire. And I know at least two of our people are going to be here on the 10th. Very good boys, and I'm going to contact the 3 girls now and see if I can get them. And one of our people is going to be gone on the 10th, but she wants to come in then and thank you later on, so we'll send that over. Well, thank you very much.
Good morning.
Well, I'm going to give you the word, but before the word, got a pop quiz for you. So let's see if you can identify the Kiwani in here. This person's favorite restaurant is a Taproot. Favorite holiday is Christmas. put down that their most annoying habit is just being themselves. What drives them crazy? Other drivers. Their favorite vacation spot is Cancun. Their favorite food is tenderloin. And the most famous person that they've ever met is Mario Andretti. Anybody want to take a stab at this? No, it's not Ron.
Is this person here today?
This person is here.
John Dunn.
Nope, it's not John.
Mark Avery.
Huh?
It could be.
Mark Avery.
Kevin Hale?
No.
Nope.
I don't like that. He said Kathryn, it wasn't me.
Probably Richard.
I do love Christmas though.
Nope, it's not Dan.
Mark Avery.
Nope.
You.
Joe, was that you?
It's not me. Nope.
Charles Smith.
Nope.
Don Cam.
Goodness. Huh?
Don Cam.
No. All right, will the real person please stand up? Kevin? You're not gonna own up to it? So, where did you meet Mario Andretti?
Standing next to him at a crap table in Peoria.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good one. All right. All right, and of course we've got a word for you today. Gardeloo. Gardeloo. Now, let me give you a little hint on this to guide you. This word is not in current usage. It was previously used in time.
Security for an outdoor toilet.
That's a good guess. That's a good guess. But it's not right. This was a very commonly used word during medieval times in certain communities.
Was it somebody that tried the food before the king or queen?
No. No.
No, I think guard still fits in there, but for a moment. Guard for a moment. You know,
No. No.
The king's
Kathy.
Is related to like a gargoyle?
No. No.
The king's personal hygiene person.
No. It's a good guess though. That's not right. It was more common Scotland. I'm not sure why there, but it was.
Is it a derogatory term for an Englishman?
No, that's a good stab, but that's not it.
The belt that holds up their hilt.
The guards the loo, huh? Okay. All right, well, no, that's not it. It's the word that was used from the upper story windows when they threw the waste out into the street to warn the people below. Guard-a-loo! It's on its way.
I was close on that one.
All right.
Do you have a book of each name, or you have to go look them up?
Oh, no, I've got these. Got them.
These are way getting.
Yeah. A little business matter here. I've got the three new people, and Kevin, I need to meet with you for just a minute at the end of the meeting today. Okay. We've got new brochures, and there's a little packet of 3 for each of you over on the table over here. If you didn't get it when you came in, pick it up on your way out, cross your name off so we know you got it. I want to thank Linda and Joel for their assistance in seeing that these were put together, and that the board for authorizing them. These brochures can be a strong tool in membership recruitment. And I want you to think about this. This is the time of the year when many people are making decisions about retiring. And if you've got connections to an organization or a place or a business where you know that there's going to be people retiring, think about who might be good candidates to become Kiwanians. This is not something that you take and stand on the street corner and pass them out, okay? It's not indiscriminate. Membership is selective here because we want people who are interested in doing service. So keep that in mind. And not people who want to just come to a meeting and eat a donut. So, and there, if you need more than 3, you can have more, but give you 3 to start with here. So, as I told you last week, there were 2 things that showed up on the survey that had the strongest number of votes of support from people, and one was speakers. The other one that ranked equally as high was the social time that members spend together here at the meeting. Many members indicated that they have developed very close friendships through Golden K and enjoy coming each week to spend time with their friends. However, several members also noted that these close relationships can sometimes make it difficult for new members to feel included or to be integrated into the group. So just keep that in mind, and with that, I'm going to call attention to the fact that a number of you are not wearing name tags. Okay, now that's one of those things in terms of helping people become easily acclimated. So I'm jarring your jar there about that. Okay, let's try to be better about it. I'm going to hold the other thing for a little bit later here until we get our announcements in. So, all right. Guest in attendance, Linda?
This morning we have 51 members present, 1 guest. Mary McCurry is back again to visit us. One speaker for a total of 53.
Okay, welcome. Roberta, health report?
Kristen Hargrove had an appendectomy yesterday. This was planned after her illness earlier, and it went well, and she went home yesterday and is resting. And Dharma Finfrock, one of our newer members, has been quite ill with the flu lately. So those are two things I had to report. I did send a card to Dave Johnson, since we haven't seen him for a while, just a thinking of you card. And I also sent a card to Kristen because I knew the surgery was going to happen. And I sent another one to Marcia.
Okay, very good, thank you. Kevin?
Birthdays and anniversaries. We've got some from the 24th through the 30th. We have one birthday on the 28th, Kathy Thompson. Getting younger every year. Let's sing. Nice job, John. We have an anniversary on the 28th. Bob and Carol Bishop. It'll be 66 years. Let's sing.
All right. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary, God bless you. Happy anniversary to you.
Okay, how about a quote from Bob Hope? You guys remember the dances? I'm sure you all remember, like the swim and the frog and the chicken and the monkey. They were actually nervous disorders put to music.
There's truth to that. All right, Kyle?
Okay, I got a couple of things to talk about. The first thing is we did the Adopt a Street this past Saturday. It went very, very well. The weather cooperated. We had a good turnout. What I'd like to do is I'd like to acknowledge everybody who worked at that. I think it's very important. I'm going to mention your name. I'd like you to please stand up. Dan Seebach, standing. Kathy Seebach, Mike Hager, Mike Zia, Don Cam, Joyce Robinson, Joe Hawkinson, Dick Virgin, Harold Dousman, Cheryl Voss, Marty Williams, Roberta Williams, and Tom McQuiston. Did I miss anybody? That was 14. That's 14 people. That's about 30% of everybody who's here. So that was an excellent turnout. Very happy with it. Anybody who has feedback, it doesn't have to be positive. Anybody who has feedback about it, I'd love to hear about it. We do it twice a year. I just happened to go down there today. I saw stuff alongside the road already, so it'll be a never-ending battle, but it's something we can work on. Yeah. Okay. The golf outing is 3 weeks from this Friday. The teams are streaming in. My rough goal is hopefully to have about 15 teams, and it looks like we're going to be pretty close, between 14 and 16 teams. We'll definitely take more. We're kind of, there's not as hard of an end date on that yet. So, the other thing I'd like to talk about is we are still accepting silent auction items, and we're going to make the cutoff next Wednesday on that. The one thing I'd like to let you know is gift cards. If you solicited gift cards from anybody, we need a hard copy of those cards to be able to hand out. We can't just tell people they bid and go, okay, you can go to such and such restaurant and tell them that this is from the Golden Cave Golf Outing and I got $50. So we do need the hard copies of those, and, or we won't be able to put them in the auction. Okay, the whole sponsors, we're doing pretty well on that. I think we've got we're over $8,000. I'm going to read a list. I can't read Joel's handwriting very well, but I'm going to read a few who have donated in the past, but we haven't heard from them yet. So maybe you're the one who solicited them. You might, a reminder. We got Barbeck, Benjamin Edwards, Dynagraphics, GK something Wine and Spirits, Grayson Fairlawn, Heritage, Mount Zion High School. I don't know that one. State Farm, Rob Lyjak, and State Fall, Bill Kruger. I know the Mount Zion Key Club is definitely going to give in. I know the Heritage is going to. So, if anybody on this list is someone you're familiar with, please touch base with. If everybody on that list contributes, I think we'll be up to about $10,000. And again, we would like to have that by 5/27 deadline so we can get signs made. 50/50 tickets available over there. You can buy those right up to the day of the outing. Dinner tickets, talk to Cheryl. We need to get that lined up, and we'd like to have that lined up by 5/27. So everything is shaping up real well. And thank you for the cooperation, and hopefully we'll have a great outing. Thank you.
Let me just clarify, the people that you read that you haven't heard from, those have been whole sponsors in the past?
Yes. We have heard from them.
Okay, all right. And the other thing I was going to share is that while we were out picking up trash last Saturday, one of the business owners along the way came and insisted that we take $20 from him in thanks for his for what we were doing, and that he encouraged us to go buy a drink with it. Well, instead, we converted it into prizes to be awarded when people answer questions here correctly, but that didn't happen today. So the new prizes have been added with this $20, but we'll have to wait for a winner, I guess.
Well, Dick, I think you need to tell them, if the bar would have been open, we were staying up front, we might have spent another month, right?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. All right. Okay, Susan.
Yes, good morning. This is a reminder, this Tuesday is when we will be serving the meal at Good Samaritan Inn. So if you signed up, please make sure you show up on Tuesday. That's May 26th. And the next carriage house that we'll be doing is June 23rd on a Sunday. If you're interested in contributing part of that meal, there's a sign-up sheet over here to my right. Thank you.
Okay. Mary Jean?
No, that's not the right date. Carriage house.
Well, they're working on that. Next Thursday, bright and early at 6:45, we're going to have an interclub with the early birds down at the Macon County Township office on South Route 48. We're going to have a special presentation to give. So if anybody wants to go, let me know, and we'll see you next Thursday, bright and early at 6:45.
The right date for the carriage house is the 14th of June, not the 23rd. Thank you.
All right. I think that's it. All right.
Well, I only have one announcement, and I want to thank Linda Durno for all the work she's done with the bylaws, getting that revised and to her committee. So let's give a hand to Linda for that. That not an easy job, and I really appreciate it. I think the whole club does. Okay, let's see. We're ready for 50-50.
Today we took in $62 in sales and donations, so $31 goes to admin, $31 to the pot, which brings our pot to $170. Winning ticket, last three numbers, 467. 467.
Four, 6, 7.
Over here.
Okay, what, Linda? Aww. Okay. So carries over to next week. Happy Jug, who's happy today? Steven's happy.
Been trying to do this for 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, you guys sang happy birthday to me. I missed it. My arrangement is this, and you always, Kevin does this before the birthday, so I say, I'll give you $5. $1 on the first week after it, and if I make it to the birthday, $4 more. Well, in my absence, Susan put $1 in, Mike Workman put $1 in because he didn't want me to miss out, and my good friend Kevin Wilmot put $1 in. That was that mysterious third buck that he can usually not figure out what to do with. I got that. So I think, I don't know how to clean it up. I'm gonna put the $4 in. I made it through the birthday. See you next year.
Okay, who else happy?
In honor of our 66th anniversary, I have been blessed with a wonderful young lady. When she was 14, she decided that she wanted to live with me down the road. So 5.5 years later, we got married. It's 66 years now. So in honor of that, I'm putting $5 here. But at this time, we don't go out and celebrate too much. So we figured, what can we do? So I have here a check for Jerry for the Northeast. I said, we're not going out to eat, but it would be nice if we could give something for other people so they don't go hungry.
Wow, thank you. Congratulations, Bob. Okay, who else? Who else is happy?
I got one right here. I'd like to put in $5 just to say thanks for everybody who showed up on Saturday for the Adopt Street.
Okay. Who else is happy? Pretty subdued group today. Okay, I guess we move on to the storyteller, and it's John Dunn. Well, we could give you a mic there. Do you rather have that? Guess not.
So first of all, I'm so brain dead today, I forgot to pay my way in, so I'm going to do that. I'll pay before I leave. So some supposed friend, I really not doubt that, gave me this book, The Best Lawyer Jokes Ever. And we have one here. And at 2 in the morning, the phone rang at the governor's mansion. An aide found himself talking to a local attorney who insisted that he must speak with the governor immediately. Despite pleas to postpone his call until morning, and the attorney insisted that the call was a matter of utmost urgency and he could not wait. The aide reluctantly decided to wait for the governor. "What is it?" grumbled the governor as he picked up the phone. "Judge Chastity just died," and announced an attorney, "and I want to take his place." The governor shot back, "Yeah, if it's okay with the undertaker, it's okay with me." And I quit there.
Got a stray wheel here. Okay, well, our speaker next week will be Wayne Camp, and he's pastor emeritus of the First Christian Church of Decatur. And he's going to be speaking on helping Ukrainian refugees in Poland. So I think it'll be very, very interesting. We are Golden K Kiwanis. We enjoy changing the world for the better by serving children and others. And we are adjourned.